This is too fucking much today. My cloak is too big. Oh, Lord, I'm dropping everything. It's that kind of day, y'all. Hello. Hi, faithful and traitors alike. Welcome to the Cup TV, part of the Currently Unnamed Podcast Network, where we put the real in the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy, say something gay. I'm currently drinking some sweet tea with lemon, because sure. And here is my moment to plug Cup Mug. Ooh, woo, yeah. And you can get your Cup Mug and all of our other merch at lonagcreations.etsy.com. That link is in the description below. We do ship domestically within North America and internationally, so there are no excuses unless there are some excuses, and there are some excuses because there are some excuses. Period.
Hello, fine folks, and those of you who are not attending the Tarot. I'm Brooke, and I am passionate about pop culture, and I'm not drinking anything today because I think there was enough tea in this episode for a lifetime. But
Oh, honey.
I'm not drinking anything, and I'm just really excited to talk about the episode of the Traitors that has made Twitter one of the worst places on the internet today for me.
Oh, literally? I'm not even fucking bothering.
Oh, I will be discussing. I will be. You don't have to, but I will be.
I'm not even bothering with Twitter. I'm like, Twitter, I don't care today.
Valid.
Twitter, I don't care about you today. But yes, we are here. It is episode 4 of the Traitors US. A spicy episode of television.
That is correct. I am not happy with the outcome, but I'm even less happy with how the fans are reacting right now. So,
I mean, as soon as I saw what happened, I was like, oh, the fans are going to be having a field day. How joyous. Yet another occasion for children to be racist and homophobic. Isn't it great?
I mean, I feel like, God, I want to talk about it, but we'll talk about it when we get to it.
Let's just do the intro and we'll talk about it when we get to it. So subscribe if you've not already. Check out the description below where you can find all of our audio podcast links, our other YouTube channels, and our Patreon, all that kind of lovely, wonderful stuff. So we start the episode where we left off with the Traitors going. They have to choose 3 people in plain sight to put in coffins, and one of them is going to be murdered.
I liked it in the moment, but now that I've seen like how it actually played out, it felt a little random because it wasn't like the old school thing of like they would shortlist people and then the next night they would murder somebody, or like they would shortlist people and then they would have to save them in the challenge, or like one of them would die in the challenge or something. This felt kind of dumb, to be honest. And like I get the idea of like, oh, the Traitors have the opportunity to throw suspicion on other people by putting them in the caskets and like whatever. But like, I don't know. Sometimes some of these twists on the Traitors just feel a little needless, and this is one of the ones that felt a little needless to me.
Plus, it's like none of the Traitors did themselves any sort of good by the way that they came out. I really thought Gabby was about to catch their asses, and I would have loved every moment of it. I would have lived for it.
Well, I mean, you get the moment where like Danielle and Gabby, like Gabby hears Danielle's voice, and then everybody kind of like leaves, sort of. And then Danielle goes back into the wine cellar with Peter, and was it Gabby? Was the other person in there? Who was the other person?
Not Peter.
Not Peter. What the fuck is his name?
Dylan.
Yeah, they're the same human.
No, one of them is a significantly better human.
Sure, but you know what I mean.
Dylan.
And that's Dylan. Yeah, but beside the point. They look very similar to me for some reason. Beside the point,
They're-
Dylan and they're getting the same edit too. Dylan and Danielle and somebody else. Was it Gabby that went in with them?
I believe it was Gabby.
Yeah. They go in there, they're looking around, they're like, oh, like right on the same shelf. There's this like little space where they thought there was something in there, but like
Or no, it was Sierra. Sierra was in there.
Sierra.
Because I was like, oh good, Sierra's getting airtime. And then she got a lot of it.
Finally.
I was like,
now
oh,
all
good.
we need now is some Brittany Haynes screen time and we'll be on the same
We got
page.
some.
We got a confessional.
We will talk at length about how Brittany Haynes was the star of the episode for me.
That's crazy.
But yes, so we get Alan ringing a bell. Everybody goes outside. There's 3 coffins on the front steps. Oh my god. And Alan announces that 3 players have been shortlisted for murder and they have to go in these coffins. And those 3 players are Nikki, Sierra, and Jeremy.
I agree with 2 of the choices.
So random to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't
agree
get
with Nikki,
like,
and I agree with Jeremy. I think those are both good choices.
I agree with Nikki and Jeremy for sure. Sierra threw me off completely. Like it really made no sense to me.
I think if they wanted to be a little bit fun and a little bit spicy, they should have thrown Derek in there instead of Sierra. But like
I think there are several other I think they could have put like for spice, mind you, if the outcome is still well, I'll just go ahead and say it. If the outcome is still unfortunately to murder Jeremy, which I also think was a mistake, but we'll talk about it.
Agreed.
If you're gonna do Jeremy and Nikki, both of those make sense. Why not have the third person be like someone like Sierra was a completely random pick, but I would have preferred a more random pick with intention. Mm-hmm. Like there didn't feel like there was any intention behind Sierra being there. Like I would have understood if it was Derek or even honestly Wes. I think either one of them could have been there and it would have been fine. Or someone that has kind of been weird and shifty, and especially kind of shifty to and around the Traitors, someone like Tom Sandoval.
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to give other reasons to murder Tom Sandoval. I think he's been on this season 4 episodes too many. But like or even Sam would have felt like a more intentionally random pick than Sierra did. And obviously there's a lot of things we're clearly not seeing. So maybe Sierra was a little bit more involved with the gameplay in those first 3 episodes. And we're just not seeing it because really she didn't become relevant to the edit until this episode. I do think though, of the 3 people up for murder, I think Jeremy was the worst choice.
I 1000% agree. And I think even on top of that, if they could have murdered anybody in that castle, I think Jeremy was the second worst choice. I think the only person who, out of everybody in that castle, that would have been a worse choice for them was Dylan. And I think everybody else, I think you had free reign that were better picks than Jeremy, because now you have other people that are on to Danielle, right? And I get in the short term, okay, maybe it bought Danielle a day to like move some pieces around. And we know she can do that. And we know she's good at that.
But and we know she probably will, given the trailer for next week. We'll talk about it.
Exactly. But honestly, though, when are they going to start listening to Carolyn? That's the real question. Because Carolyn has been right every single time.
Every time.
I mean, even here, she didn't specify what she would have preferred. I think she was probably going to go for Nikki, which I think was the right call.
I think Nikki, as much as I love me some Nikki Bella, Nikki was the right choice here. Nikki was absolutely the right choice here. You all see how close she already is to both Gabby and Chriselle.
They have a group name now. They're the band.
They have a group name. Mind you, the Traitors might not have known it. And that's valid. And like
Danielle literally called, I think, Chriselle. She said she's a Bambi, like during the breakfast this morning. So like it's a known group, and they've known about this trio since the beginning, pretty much. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't take the shot while they had it, because now they can't kill Sierra next episode, right? Which, granted, she's not part of that group. So to me, if you kill Nikki, that's just as bad. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Chriselle was one of the people that got a shield in this episode. So
I believe so.
I believe so. So when you look at that, well, who's left? I forget who the third person in that group is. Gabby. They could kill Gabby, but like, what does that really accomplish? And I mean, granted, I get the idea of like, oh, well, Gabby might have kind of caught us, but not really, because we see when they get to breakfast the next morning, Gabby asks about the wine cellar, and they pretty much figure that's where things were done. And they're right, but they don't know that they're right. But Bob actually did really good deflection of that. Was like, I mean, I heard about the wine cellar and I went to go look at it. Obviously, I was there.
Right.
But like, so was Danielle, so was Dylan, so was Sierra.
Also,
and
maybe Bob didn't need to say anything. But I want to, on the topic of Jeremy, I want to close off by saying I am so fundamentally disappointed that they wasted Jeremy Collins on this season. Like, he is an absolute angel of life. I was so excited to see him on this season. And I felt so bad for Carolyn. Carolyn felt so horrible. And it's like, yeah, I'm glad you do, Carolyn. I mean, this had nothing to do with you. I'm not blaming you in the slightest. Where's the remorse from Boston Rob?
I get it, especially for Carolyn here. And something I saw online, one of the first, that we're going to be talking about Twitter a lot today. One of the things I saw online was Carolyn asked to be a traitor and she's mad about having to murder somebody. Yeah. Someone she's probably kind of close to based on how she was acting around Jeremy.
Would have helped her traitor game.
Somebody who
literally
she wanted to work with.
The only survivor left in the game now is Boston Rob.
And who wants to work? No offense, if I'm Carolyn, why would I want to work with him? You just like
all offense. Why the fuck would I want to work with Boston Rob?
Well, by the end of the episode, especially, and like when you see what's happened here, Carolyn probably feels really alone right now. Obviously, she's gonna feel bad about voting out Jeremy, especially from everyone I have ever heard that Jeremy is one of the nicest dudes on the planet.
Yeah.
So like I feel bad for Carolyn. I feel even worse for Jeremy because long term, the only thing he did was what everybody else was doing, which is kind of throwing sauce on a few people here and there, so that way you don't get Dan Gieslinged. And then he just happened
didn't make sense.
We just happened to hit Danielle, and it got back to Danielle, and there was nothing he could really do about it. But even then, I still think this is the wrong call.
Frankly, none of the murders have made sense to me.
I think
Dorinda, Ion, or Jeremy, none of them have made sense to me.
Ion, I get more than the other two because me, yeah, I think to me, Ion is like, well, we know she's a faithful. There's no shot of her being a traitor. We can get rid of her. I think the timing was a bit off, but the logic is there for me. With Dorinda, I mean, you caused confusion, and it kind of worked in the short term, but I mean, long-term gain, it didn't really pan out. And then this week, I'm just sitting here scratching my head. I'm like, Danielle, Bob, Rob, I like two of you. I really want to make this clear. I'm a fan of 2 out of 3 of you. I don't get it. And I think this was a weird call across the board this week. But, hey, I mean, for Danielle, we'll see how she reacts to it and how it affects her game long term. But,
yeah. So yeah, we're doing breakfast. The only thing of note really at the breakfast, other than Sam wearing a headband and says, "Oh, Brittany gave it to me," as in Haynes. Everyone was like, "Britney Spears." Anyway, Robin is one of the only real moments we get from Robin this episode. Which I'm surprised, given her,
dominance of the
not
edit.
Over edit, but abundant edit in the first 3 episodes. She's floating the theory that there are traitors in the coffins, which makes sense, given the whole circumstance. Wes is now full on, I think it's Nikki. And utilizes his knowledge of the fact that she is a wrestler, she is a performer, and if I was Nikki and I'm actually a traitor, I'm going to put myself in the coffin. Absolutely. The spectacle of it is like the best part of it.
This is the first time I have heard suspicion on somebody this year that wasn't actually a traitor that I followed and I agreed with.
Oh, 100%. Here's the problem. I don't love Weston Bergman. I don't enjoy him usually. I think Traitors is maybe the game that he's built to play the best. And I
crazy
love
considering what he just did in House of Villains. Like,
oh God, I don't even want to think about it. But I'm like, no, I'm full on following US. I'm right there. I see you. Completely logical. Off base, but completely logical. Like,
and then oppositely, I am a massive fan of Wes Bergman because I'm a Challenge fan, and you're either a Bananas fan or a Wes fan. And as someone who cannot stand,
I am
Johnny
neither.
Bananas,
I'm a CT fan.
Well, as you should be, but as you should be. But I mean, if you were a fan in like the Rivals era, you kind of had to like one of them because they hated each other so much. But no, I love CT too. But watching Wes I mean, he's the only challenge rep on the season, so he doesn't have that like built-in working relationship with anyone. He has really been, I mean, even in his minor edit that he's been getting, I've been kind of impressed because he's doing something that I never thought I would see Wes Bergman do, which is minimize his target and like play under the radar. Who the hell is this? But it's been kind of impressive. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Derek. What is Derek doing? I don't get it. This one I don't get. I get the Nikki call out. Derek going after Sierra. I don't understand. I'm not feeling it. He's like, oh, because she uses bad language. Girl, people swear. Like, I know you are like holier than thou and always have been, but like people swear. It's just kind of a thing people do. So yeah, not following you there on that one, Derek.
No. Let's go to the mission where it is carry giant pieces up to the top of a hill to make giant Stonehenge kind of giant Moab statues. Okay. The challenge was so boring. I'm sorry.
Same.
Like I understand the strategy because then obviously everyone has a head with their name on it, but there's only 10 bodies at play, so only 10 people are going to get a shield. I think that's way too many people getting a shield for my liking,
especially this late in the game too. Like
yeah,
this point of the game, because like the beginning of the season, right, we had like 12, 13, 14 people get a shield. I didn't really bat an eye, but
even then there are still 8 people up for murder in this game, the same as the last time. So I'm like, whatever. Of note, Bob, not the drag queen, as I'm referring to him, Bob, not the drag queen,
Bob Harper.
Bob, not the drag queen, is struggling with this mission. And we find out about him having a heart attack 7 years ago. And I was like, oh, well, Julie.
Yeah. I remember when that happened too, because that was right after, I think the last season of Biggest Loser had just aired at the time. And he was a trainer on that season. And then heart attack happens. They revive Biggest Loser on USA. He comes back as the host. And he became a really big, strong heart health advocate after that. Because, he was talking about like, I should have died. And another thing that really pissed me off on Twitter was all the people talking shit about Bob Harper saying, oh, you're a trainer on The Biggest Loser, but you can't make it up a hill. Bitches, he had a fucking heart attack. Like, can we just like watch TV and be entertained and also recognize the fact that he's a lot older now than he used to be when he was on The Biggest Loser. He's almost 60. Like, can we just be respectful and just engage with the show we're watching, like, respectfully?
No,
apparently not.
I know. And then there's a lot of conceited people, a lot of selfish people, getting their heads up for no reason. When all is said and done, the people that we know do not have a shield and are eligible for murder are Sierra, Carolyn, but not really, Nikki, Ivar, Robin, Sam, Gabby, and Derek.
Yeah. And they did get all 10 of the heads and statues assembled, and everybody else got shields, so they got 20K out of that, which, I mean, yay, cool. You didn't get any money in the last mission, so it probably feels nice. But this challenge was so boring. Oh, so boring. The only thing I enjoyed about it was near the middle of it, when Bob's head's already on a statue. Bob's like, can we just like talk and like decide whose heads are going to be on the statue, please? And nobody's engaging at all. Everybody's just curious. She's like, okay, I guess not. No worries.
My favorite part of this challenge is my girl Brittany Haynes coming in, being like, I did Peloton to prepare for this. If the challenge was biking on a slight incline,
with 2000s pop music,
to 2000s girly pop music, I would know what I'm doing. But I don't know what I'm doing. I don't run up hills.
I love you, Brittany.
Traitors, NBC, Peacock, thank you. Thank you for casting Brittany Haynes.
If I get that one soundbite, that's enough for me.
Oh thank you. Thank you for casting Brittany Haynes on this season. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But this also does lead us to, oh God, the betrayal moment.
Okay, we do need to touch on something important before that.
Yeah.
Because during the challenge, Sierra's like trying to carry her head up the mountain, and Bob's like, girl, you don't need your head up there. Everyone thinks you're a traitor. They're not going to kill you. And Sierra's like, everyone thinks I'm a traitor. And he goes, bitch, yes. And just like keeps on going back down the hill. So Bob tells Sierra the people think she's a traitor. Then during everything else, Bob mentions that people are sus of the people in the coffins, and they don't need to put their heads on the statues because nobody's going to murder them because everyone's suspicious of them, even if they're not a traitor. And then we get to the betrayal, which, go ahead if you wish.
Bob, the drag queen, says that one of the new guys should have gotten a shield since everyone thinks they're a traitor. Bob, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Bob, shut the fuck up.
I literally was just like, girl, I love you.
In that moment, I was like, Bob's gone. Like,
I had this much hope. Because in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, if the troops mobilize in the right ways, and like, you know, maybe it could plant a seed for an episode down the line. But damn it, I was mad. I was like, Bob, I love you, but can you learn how to shut your damn mouth, please? Apparently not. So Rob is pissed, because of course he is. Because, you know, I mean, I'll be real. I think Rob had a right to be mad in this particular situation. So then Rob starts going around the castle and doing these little whispers of like, hey, let's vote for Bob, the drag queen. Oh, sorry. We're going to vote the drag queen out. Verbatim comment from Boston Rob.
We're going to vote the drag queen out. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
And, okay, I want to touch on something else, too. Twitter. Was it the best choice of words that Rob could have had? No. But, like, when there are two Bobs, you do what you can to distinguish them when one of them is Bob H and the other one is the drag queen. Like, they just did what they could. And I'm not defending Rob in terms of like, oh, I like Rob. I don't. Not a fan. But y'all are getting way too upset over nothing. So Rob's going around the castle, you know, just doing his thing, telling everybody what's going on about trying to vote for Bob, the drag queen. And then, after he's already got the troops mobilized, he pulls Carolyn and Danielle aside, and he tries to gaslight both of them and goes, hey, everybody's voting for Bob. I feel like if we get on that train, they won't be as suspicious of us. We might just need to do it now. And Danielle's like, no, we're not doing that. The fuck? We're voting out Nikki. Everyone's voting out Nikki.
Everyone's voting for Nikki.
Because Derek has been making these, Derek and Wes have been kind of like weaving in and out of like, should we vote for Nikki? Should we vote for Sierra? And like, even in this moment, I was really confused with the edit because we only really saw Derek getting votes on Sierra and we didn't see Wes pushing for Nikki. So apparently people have been pushing for Nikki too. We didn't see that at all. So right. I'm going into the round table. I'm like, well, Bob's fucked. Because like this edit did not show the Nikki shit. And I don't think Danielle has even brought up voting for Sierra. No. So I was just like, it's the first time this season I've been like, Peacock, edit this better. Because this segment should have gotten an extra like minute even. If you just had another minute to shove in a little bit of Wes pushing Nikki's name, I would have bought it a little bit more. But by the time we get to the round table, I was not buying crap.
Well, I thought a little bit of hope only because the first name brought up at the round table by Wes is Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, maybe there's a little bit here. But immediately Chriselle and Gabby come right to her
defense.
They're working with her. Their defense. That is a word.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is the word to use in this scenario.
Apparently, you attack one baby, you attack them all.
Apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, okay then.
Well, then the topic gets like, moved to Sierra because Derek goes after Sierra. And in this moment, I'm thinking, okay, I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe it until Alan says the time to talk is over. But
right.
I was thinking maybe in the back of my mind, I was like, maybe, just maybe, we'll be fine here. And then Rob opens his damn mouth. Basically says
after
the same
saying thing throughout the whole episode, oh, I'm just going to plant seeds for Bob the drag queen to get voted out.
Yeah. Opens his mouth and then steers the conversation towards Bob. And again, drag queen Bob. Anytime I say Bob, unless I'm specifically say Bob H, assume I'm talking about the drag queen. Bob's says, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet in 9 words. I swear to God, I am not a traitor. Right?
Nope. I swear to God that I am a faithful.
And I'm a faithful.
And I love Bob. I love Bob with every fiber of my being. But when Rob said, let me say 2 words, you're not.
You kind of got clocked a little bit.
Rob, I'm gonna give him his 8s here. He ate.
Mm-hmm.
He ate. I was really impressed with that.
Well, the other thing that I really hated was that Rob and Dylan both kept talking over Bob when Bob was trying to talk, which Bob has been very respectful about that, of not interrupting people when they've been talking before. And that pissed me off. That always pisses me off on shows like this when people do that crap. Dylan then pipes up his little Zac Efron brother head and is like, yeah, you're such a good actor. I grew up with an actor.
Bob is an amazing actor. I grew up with an actor. Not a
good one. And then Dolores is like, that's not nice.
The one time we hear from Dolores this episode. I'm like, where the fuck was Dolores? Who's Dolores? I don't know Dolores.
Dolores won a shield in this episode, and we still got nothing from her.
She got the last shield.
Mm-hmm. We got one thing. She was like, Thanks, Wes. I appreciate you for putting my head on that statue.
Right. I think as much as Rob maybe has now put himself directly in the firing line because of this move, I think it is the best possible way that could have gone down. Because I actually think, as much as I like Bob, he was so caught off guard that he really didn't have a whole lot of like strategic reasons to deflect away from him or away from himself. It was mostly throwing it back at Rob. Kind of,
that was when Bob lost, I think.
That was when Bob lost. Like when Bob like fully had a moment where like they broke down. Like Bob broke down. And for a second was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Like you saw the panic moment and I was like, yep, nope, it's done.
Yeah.
And as we go through the voting sequence, we hear Danielle talking a lot about not wanting to vote Bob. I was like, I don't know what the other traitors are going to do. Unfortunately, both Danielle and Carolyn also vote Bob. And Bob is banished.
See, crazy thing here, right? Had Danielle, Carolyn, and Bob all voted for Sierra, Bob would have only needed one more vote to stay. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, obviously, that changes a lot of votes, but like, had they taken the time for the three of them to have a conversation about what they were going to do, this vote could have went differently. I'm not saying it would have. It could have. But I got to admit, I don't like doing this. I really don't like doing this. Rob did a very good job, and he got things done. I am not happy that Bob is out because I love Roberta. Big fan. But Rob did what he had to do. However, I think this was a terrible move for his game.
Agreed.
Because now you have Danielle and Carolyn breathing down your neck because they're both pissed. And they don't feel safe with Rob as a traitor anymore, as they shouldn't. But then you had Wes, which again, thank you, Wes Bergman, goes, how do you know someone is a traitor? How are you so sure that someone is a traitor? You're a traitor. So it looks like there's already some movement against Rob, which I'm thrilled about.
I'm just frustrated.
Same.
I agree with you. I think Rob played this as an isolated moment. Rob played this perfectly. Will he be able to get out of this one and survive the next banishment? No. I don't see it happening. It is Boston Rob. It is Boston Rob. So anything is possible. But I think if Wes flips, it's over.
Well, I think the big thing, too, is we've seen that there's a lot of people that are just going with the house right now, or going with the castle, I suppose. And Wes is one of those people, and we saw it on House of Villains, and we've seen it on the challenge for years, that he is very good with his words, right? Like, he is very persuasive. He hasn't chosen to use them as much as he normally does. But I think that's because he kind of recognizes the fact that he can't be up front the entire game. It doesn't work that way. I actually think he would have been a phenomenal traitor. I would love to have seen that. If I had to choose one of the three of them, it would have been Wes, easily. But now I must quickly switch the ticker over to something I don't normally get to do very often. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Wait. Bang. Bang. Okay, so Twitter. Y'all are pissing me the fuck off today on both ends of the spectrum, because the Drag Race girlies, and again, Logan and I, both Drag Race girlies, so note that the call is coming from inside the house on this one, have been awful on Twitter today to a lot of people. Most notably, I've been seeing comparisons of Dylan Efron to Trishelle with the Peppermint situation all over my timeline. No. What we are not going to do is compare these two incidents, okay? Did Dylan go for Bob a little bit earlier than I think was warranted? Possibly. But Bob was playing messy as shit, and we all fucking knew it, okay? As much as I love Bob.
Sloppy gameplay.
Exactly.
Like, there's just nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I love Bob to death, but Bob was playing messy, and Dylan caught on to that. That's how that works. Am I pissed at the situation? Obviously, I would love for Bob to have won this season. Bob is my favorite person on this cast, and that's saying something when you have people like Danielle Reyes, Brittany Haynes, Wes Bergman, like people I really like are also on this cast. Bob did not play particularly to the chest, put it that way. And because of that, that is why Bob got banished. The Peppermint and Trishelle situation is fundamentally different.
Yeah.
And we are not going to compare apples and oranges in this house. 1. 2, all of the other end of the spectrum, the people who aren't Drag Race fans, who are saying, oh, we don't need to cast any more drag queens on the Traitors. No more Drag Race people on the Traitors. Fuck off and fuck you, okay?
Yeah.
1, we have had 2 people across 3 seasons from Drag Race. 2, Peppermint and Bob the Drag Queen. Between the 2 of them, they have had a combined 5 episodes of television, okay? Peppermint nobody was mad about Peppermint in terms of like what she did and how she presented herself on the show. We were mad about the outcome because that was problematic as fuck from Trishelle, and the entire situation was shitty, and Peppermint really didn't get a chance to do anything, and it was aggravating, especially considering Drag Race, we love her so much. Bob kind of fucked up pretty big, and that is why Bob went home. Yeah. But saying we don't need to be casting from this specific show anymore for the Traitors, when in all honesty, the only chance that these queens are going to have to hit with these audiences on a show like this is the Traitors as of right now.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. Nobody was saying last year when all of these other people were being messy as shit at the beginning of the season, nobody was saying, oh, we don't need to be casting from the challenge anymore because Trishelle's acting out of her ass. Nobody was saying any of that. You know, where's the calls from inside the house on that one? But because, you know, CT was fine, nobody cared, right? We need, as a fandom, can we not just, again, support the queens, support the people that are on the show, call them out if they do something problematic, which no one here did, and acknowledge the fact that Bob outplayed Bob in this situation.
Yep.
And that Bob played messy, and that is why Bob went home.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love Bob, that is what occurred, and we need to stop acting like that's not what happened. Drag Race people, get off of Dylan Efron's back because he did nothing wrong, and non-Drag Race people get off of Bob's back because Bob also did nothing wrong. They just played the game a little bit sloppy. Brooke rant over. Thank you very much.
Well, all right then. I do want to say my other favorite part of this episode was Bob's traitor reveal. Like the acting. She had her moment. She took her moment. I swore to God. And that was a lie because I don't believe in God. I lived. Mm-hmm. I just Bob is just such good TV. Point blank and the period. Bob is good TV.
Mm-hmm.
She played messy. But Bob is always going to be good TV, and there are very few things that would make me not a Bob the Drag Queen fan. So I love it.
Nothing has happened yet. Love me some Roberta, and even if Roberta, Bobby were only on the show for a short time, I am glad you were here. Send Monet next year, please. But
I have a different pick, actually.
We'll talk about it after because I had something I would have talked to you about anyway. But
so obviously we end the episode with everyone celebrating Rob, whatever. And Carolyn and Danielle are pissed. We cut off at the turret. So we don't get to see any of the turret. We have to wait until next week. And in the preview for next week, Danielle and Carolyn are finding their revenge for Bob the Drag Queen. I'm like, period. Thank you, ladies. Allies.
Ally.
Period. Now I want to talk real quick before we wrap up, Brooke, about who we think is going to be murdered. So we have 7 options, being Sierra, Nikki, Ivar, Robin, Sam, Gabby, and Derek.
Logically,
I think there are a couple of obvious picks.
The first person that crosses my mind is Gabby. I think that makes the most sense. I don't think they're going to do it because Gabby got too much.
I think with how much I think Gabby's getting a very, very good at it.
I could see being Sam.
I think of these people, the person I would like to see go the most is Sam.
Come on, girl, give us nothing.
Right. I think honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they took out Robin.
I don't think they will because Robin was one of the people who didn't vote for Bob the Drag Queen, right?
True.
And I think if I'm Carolyn and Danielle, right, and I mean I don't know if they had the opportunity to talk before the turret, but in my mind, if I'm wanting to get revenge on Rob, I'm taking out somebody who voted for Bob because I think that makes the most logical sense in this particular situation. And there's a lot of people that voted for Bob that are available. Most notably, I will say the other person I think is pretty much safe tonight is Derek. As much as I would love for Derek to be the person that goes home here, because again, come on, girl, give us very little. Derek is one of the people that came in late, and I do think that as long as Rob is in the turret, he is going to try to protect Derek and Wes, at least for the time being. Because if one of them goes home, right, because people are saying that one of the 3 of them is probably a traitor. If one of them goes home, it then comes down to a coin flip, and I don't think Rob is going to be comfortable with a coin flip. So I think Derek is probably safe. Also, I don't think Danielle is going to go after Derek either.
No.
So I think Gabby makes the most sense, but I think they'll probably end up murdering like Sam or Ivar. I would be fine with Ivar going, by the way, for the record. I would be totally fine. He's doing nothing.
I mean, cool. Love the gays, but he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
But
Sam's doing even less, but like
exactly.
Yeah. So I must ask you a very important question as well, Logan. Are you happy that you are currently the only person, even with your team of 2 players, that has yet to lose a draft player?
Yay! I mean, I'm holding on with what? A Derek, a Wes, and a Dream. But hey, I'll take it.
We're 4 episodes
if I somehow win this draft, period.
Girl, we're 4 episodes in. We are 2 weeks in, and I have lost 3 people already.
Well, Julie. Don't worry. In the actual other Traitors draft that I did on Twitter, I'm out.
Who did you have? Bob,
Ion, and Dorinda.
Funny.
I'm pissed. Anyway,
well, I had Jeremy. Jeremy's gone. I had Wells. Wells is gone. I had Dorinda. Dorinda's gone. So now I have Tom Sandoval.
Oh God.
It was the leftover. I have Tom. I have Chriselle. I don't even know. We have the graphic. Can we pull up the graphic? Because we have the graphic.
Do we have the graphic?
We do have the graphic. We had it last week. I'm assuming we still have it. It's not the updated one. But yeah, there she is. So there's the cast graphic with the X over Rob's face, which is how I'm feeling at the moment. Yeah, it's a weird time period here in this game. I don't even like at this point I feel like Carolyn is in the best position, which is weird, but like I'm here for it.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. But that is where we're going to go ahead and leave off for this Traitors recap. Thank you for joining us. Let us know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to check out the description where you can find all of our audio podcast links, our other YouTube channels, our Patreon, our social media, and where you can get your merch, including Madonna Limited 2 cup mug. With all that being said, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. So, cheers.
Cheers.